trip in 1964, just from Rangoon, Burma, through Africa. It's very early morning, and we had gotten in late at night, but our guide insisted that we just had to see the temples there. Temple of the Dawn is their main one in Burma, that we must see that, and so he got up early himself and got us up early to come and see them, and they're getting ready for a very festive day, and the young girls were coming laden with flowers, and they were making leis, and they were all dressed up. The boys were all dressed up because they were going to be serving in priesthood for a while. You see these boys here are being, I guess what you'd say, ordained, as their Burmese hair. And their hairdos were precious. And they lose their teeth in Burma, too. They're the young girls all dressed up, and they're on fancy umbrellas and wagons. Very important day. India was a world of its own. It's like stepping backwards in history hundreds of years. Or just drawing water. Quite a huge animal. Everywhere women carried things on their heads. They were waiting for a train to cross, and it was one of the typical Indian trains. She's carrying cow dung, which is fuel, which is building material, and everything else that they use it for. In India, there's never enough room for anyone, and certainly not on a train. Or even in the streets. This is at Benares. And their sacred cows could go anywhere. This is Id, their most holiest day of the year. And it's the day when everybody who could made even a 100-mile walk in order to come to the river Ganges to bathe in the river and get some of the holy sacred water. Be blessed by the priests there. And they call these bathing ghats, the spots along there. Here widows are shaved, babies are shaved. I don't suppose he ever nicked one. Here is a line of people waiting to get water blessed by the priest in their little jugs. And here they're coming up from the bathing ghat. And underneath these canopied places would be priests, or it might be a masseuist, a big heavy fellow giving somebody a back rub. But to go to bathe in the Ganges on this particular day was the thing they aimed at. Note the little hat. Spots on their foreheads are what the priests put on them underneath these canopies. Here's a fellow getting a back rub. And they're bathing. And they fill their water jugs with the same water, take it up and have it blessed. Just as we were fortunate to be there on a day like this. Because people have been coming for years to this, on this particular day. Their way form. This is a commercial laundry. And this was a holy man here. You can always tell them from their long hair, the rotting cows in the water, rotting human bodies in the water. The waterfront looked like this. millionaires lived in the upper stories here. And here's a general picture of the front of the bathing bath. Most of the activity was centered in this particular area. There were rows and rows upon rows of lepers begging. And you could ride in a boat, which we did, down the Ganges for a ways, just seeing this old temple half sunken. Now into the water. And we rode in the boat all the way down to the burning ghat. That's a hospital. Here they're standing in line with their pots to have a priest inside to bless them. Some of the carvings on one of the temples. And that is a burning ghat, and you can see the smoke. This fellow, believe it or not, is mowing the grass in front of the motel. And very efficiently, even if it wasn't a motorized hand mower. It's grinding mill, grain, threshing wheat, making fodder. I don't know what happened to mother. And they slept out in the open. There was never enough beds for anyone. So those things you see upside down are the sleeping mats. And always the community well. This young yogi is a girl of 16. Performed for us. Her father was there at the time, supervising, or at least collecting the money for it. And she could literally tie herself up in knots. Here she's actually dislocating her shoulder each time that she rolls around like that underneath her shoulder that way. And of course the inevitable mongoose cobra fights. You see the large hooded cobra? And then they released the mongoose. And there was no question as which one would win whatsoever. A few snaps of that jaw, and that's all there was. That's all there was to the snake. Madame Pandit was Nehru's niece, and at the present time she was staying at Nehru's home. 2 weeks before he died, and we had tea with her. This was a Church of the Bells, Temple of the Bells. And Madame Pandit, my friend Trudy, most gracious woman. She was president of the United Nations, the first woman president, presided at the United Nations for quite a few years over here. I never will forget that she served us silver cookies. And they were flat, sort of square cookies, but the icing was silver, which you ate. In Kashmir really is those are Himalayas in the distance. Kashmir is the Indians, wealthy Indians' playground. One reason why they don't want to turn it loose, give it back to Pakistan. Stayed in houseboats. The sacrificial lamb has already been marked for slaughter. The attire of the children was odd. They lived on houseboats. This is a mogul's garden. Very formal. And our host, we called him Shirt Tail. Beautiful gardens. And this was a tea party, a Kashmirian tea party going on, and they invited us to come over and have tea with them. And they made it, and it was very strong, awful tasting, pink, liquid. It was terrible. Some of the houses there in Kashmir. Children just, I don't know if they really realized what was happening or not with their pictures being taken. I wondered if they ever saw actually the results of the picture themselves. And they had practiced purdah very religiously there. The veils that they had, some were red, some were white, different colors, had a rather screened, like a lace in front of their faces so they could see where they were going, otherwise they were fully covered completely. All the food booths and shops were at eye level and open to flies or whatever. It's in here, communal kitchens. There's the Shirt Tail with a bunch of children just wanting to be having a picture taken. And here is where someone was cooking for a whole community. Someone else did all the laundry, someone else did all the sewing, I suppose. Beautiful mountain place. Cool, comfortable, very different from most of the rest of India. Of course, it's an entirely different location, really. Country itself, or the place, Kashmir, was in quite a social unrest. This is up in the hills with 2 shepherd boys. And they were having these political meetings, religion combined. This one is a very renowned speaker here who spoke to this mass of men. No women. We were the only women within 100 miles, I suppose. Certainly the only white people. And we really posed as reporters with our cameras and everything like that and got the royal treatment. Very formidable looking mountains. Another very impressive place is the Red Fort. Its size and immensity is just staggering. It's a band of gypsies. I always tell by the way they dress, and they are another group of people that you leave alone. There is the Red Fort, and I panned purposely very fast, trying to get all of it in, which is impossible. You can see it just goes on and on and on and on. It is absolutely huge. And from one of the windows there, you can see the Taj Mahal. Did so much with inlaid ivory and mother of pearl. Every available spot was a carving and marble. There again is the Taj Mahal. Certainly worth all of the praise that's ever been given. And it was all for the love of one man for one woman. That's her tomb. No shoes. It's still fascinating the way they burdened their donkeys. Goodness. Beasts of burden is right. This most marvelous picture. of women in a farming community, or at least a rural community, and they had to go get their water down the street, across the highway rather, in order to carry their day's supply of water. This is the Temple of the Bells, and again, and a fellow playing a little hand organ. These are just street scenes. People, people, people. Too many of them. In Bombay, we stayed at the government house as guests of the government with Madame Penny's niece. It was the gateway to India. And this is their regular royal, or not royal, or at least their government yacht. And here the women worked. They're building a bridge. And we had with us our own private servant who brought our tea party with real silver, tray, linens, the works. This is actually a picture of it. And everywhere monkeys were worshipped. This is a mama monkey carrying a baby. Found so many countries that used monkeys as a symbol of either longevity, or they believe they came from a monkey, or are going to be a monkey when they came back. They were sacred. There were sacred monkey mountains everywhere. Many long row of steps to climb to get to those Elephanta caves. This is the port. This beautiful, beautiful vessel. The airway is, again, is the gateway to India in Bombay. It's a perfectly lovely home, and we stayed in the guest house, same one Queen Elizabeth stayed in, the Khrushchev stayed in. Her guests stayed in the same house, and that's her own private servant, chauffeur, limousine. We were very spoiled. A beach at Bombay. From there we flew over, touched Aden, Arabia, and then into Nairobi, Africa. While we were in Nairobi, we stayed with friends, with them and in their home, which makes it very nice. Oh, it was nice to see all of the lush growth after most of India was so hot and so burnt. These were the people we stayed with. They're government workers. Very nice couple. United States workers. And they took us to spend the night out at Treetops Hotel. That's where Queen Elizabeth was when she found out that her father had died, and then she was Queen of England, and overlooked the water hole. This is deep in the jungle, and that's one of the water holes. And in the evening, as the evening grew darker, then the animals would come out of the jungle and head for the water hole. And there would be a series of them, maybe a jackal and maybe a small rhino, and then the herds of elephants would come, and the rhinos, and the impalas, and the elands. And there is another herd of elephants coming in out of the jungle. This is late. This is 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and they're still able to take a picture. And the little baby we knew was going to get stepped on in all the mud. And there was always old one-tusker. He looked like he'd been around quite a many years. Another big camel. That's Gladys. She stayed on the roof of this Treetop Hotel, and guests fed her. awfully easy to get them spoiled and man-trained. Wonder if she'd be able to survive in the wild. They literally chomped the lake into just mud. I was surprised because there wasn't any really bad odor. Animals got along fairly well, even rhinos and others that normally would not be congenial. And this is driving through the canyon, going, of course, across the equator. This is the Yacht Club, Safari Club, and William Holden's hang out. And that's Mount Kenya in the distance. These are called secretary birds. I don't know exactly why. Peculiar trees, peculiar flowers. These were guest cards just that would come to the Safari Club that were ready to make their trek into the jungles for shooting or whatever. Beautiful place. It's just one of the native villages with their little huts. In Nairobi, most of them are Bantus in Nairobi. Some of these natives now, you'll notice how the women have headbands and they're carrying their heavy loads, the band around their heads. They've had quite a few brushes with the Mau, which are the troublesome tribe. Very cruel. Come in and murder whole families. This is a home in which part of the United States government is financing and taking care of. A couple enjoying it. This must be the park at Nairobi National Game Reserve. And actually we saw more animals. Those are jackals and zebras. We saw more wild animals in this huge game reserve than we did in Kruger National Park in South Africa. Every conceivable thing. There's a gnu, or a wildebeest. This is a pride of lions that are present, just waking up. They'll be getting up, stirring soon, starting off in their evening hunt. At least the females will do the hunting. They looked like kittens when they were lying down on the ground, but you didn't dare and weren't allowed to have your windows down in the car, nor to get out of your car for any reason whatsoever. And there was always a ranger there in his car with guns. And they looked so mild and tame to me. But they had no reason to fear man because they were protected. And they just came right on up to the cars. I think if you reached your hand out there to pet one, you'd be in trouble. It was rather the molting season, and there were no great big. I mean, see the size of that one is against the size of the car. They were not small. One of the longest flights was from Nairobi down to Johannesburg, and then and Pretoria. But the longest flight was all the way back up to Egypt from there. This was the Bergs, whom we moved from over here. The other ones had lived in Pretoria, and we stayed with them. Very delightful couple. Everything in the two languages, Afghans and English. This was a war memorial. Some sculpture I was interested in the city of Pretoria. This is a native hut. And oh, they decorated their houses, painted. Just gorgeous. And they were the ones that wore the beads and the rings around their necks, their legs. And the babies wore a precious little beaded apron. She's very proud to show off her playground. Intricate work. This old fellow was sewing fur for something. And there is some of her beadwork. And there's the little apron the little boy wore. Children everywhere did not wear diapers or pants of any kind. I don't think there was a diaper in half of the world. It's another type of native village with a different type of hut. Three days in the Kruger Park was delightful. We had lovely places, great places for us to stay. These are hippopotami. This one of them yawned. These are the type of little tourist courts, I guess you'd call them, where we stayed in. Monkey, if you can see him. And the gorgeous impala. I think everybody knows from that one is. Pretty dark, they're baboons. Most of the animals were better seen in late evening. There's a hyena. I always tell from the shape of their heads. The spider monkey. This is a poodle. I loved him because of his bald fringe underneath his neck. He's a pack of jackals. And these two impalas having a nice fun time. Like two young boys. And there's that lovely fringe. And that's just simply an ant hill. Believe it or not, a crock on a rock. More wildebeest. And there's a stork nest. And a rogue elephant. One that was an outcast from his own group. And they can be very mean. And they've been known to crush like a Volkswagen just to nothing. Most people didn't tamper with them whatsoever. Sometimes I wish for a telephoto lens. This is a certain kind of tree. It's upside down. Looks like the roots were on top. And there's a tale that goes with it about it having been dropped when it landed that way. This was our host, Ivan Berg. And there they are cooking out in the dark. Very fast, the Impala. This section of the park was like West Texas would be. And in the different sections, there's another anthill. You can see now the size of it. Sometimes maybe 2 stories high. This was the outcast rogue elephant again. And he caused us a few moments of consternation when he got down onto the road in which we were and started going the wrong way. You see this car really, and it noticed what had happened and really got going and got out of there. And the car coming up the hill saw it and started backing down in a mighty big hurry. And I call this picture the darkest Africa. It just is nothing to describe the black of the skin. It isn't just like a normal skin that we consider black here. It's just black. A certain type of black that you won't see. Always a bunch of women, always a bunch of people sitting on the tree waiting for a bus. Lunchtime for someone. I like that picture. This shows you the size of the ants that build us huge mounds. They're not particularly larger, but they still had huge mandibles. You could really move a ton of dirt with each head load. Quite a wooded area, and they planted these spruce on purpose. They're nice, tall, and straight because these are timbers for their mines, for their diamond mines and their gold mines in and around Johannesburg. Very lush, beautiful country. This was their winter. And the plenty kind of needles, instead of being nice and straight like we think of our Christmas tree kinds, these were in scallops like the edge of a fringe on a dress. These look like more Pueblo Indians than anything, villages. Why these men were walking